Which is the best Aventus? In this video, we're going to be talking about Aventus, Aventus Cologne, Aventus Absolute, comparing them, contrasting them, and coming to a final conclusion on which one Tyler and I do think is the best version of Aventus. So, Tyler, why don't you open up the floor first by talking about Aventus? Maybe you could even get a little backstory because I know you love this fragrance, you love this DNA, it means a lot to you. So, if you want to just kind of introduce the original Aventus and just speak your mind about it.
Yeah, so Creed Aventus, the original, it holds a big place in my heart because this was my first fragrance that I got as a sample, but like a bigger sample in like the world of starting to collect fragrances. It's what introduced me to niche. It's what introduced me to more things than just like what you could get at a Target or a rack store or just anything like that. Um, I mean, Aventus, it's really known, but just to kind of go over it, just in case there's somebody who doesn't know, it's really known for the smoky birch and the oak moss and just a nice woody smell. It has a middle note of pineapple, and then it has black currant and lemon and just bergamot and a bunch of other fruits at the top. That just gives it this like nice citrusy, smoky, woody, just in my opinion, perfect all around fragrance. It's amazing to me. Um, I think that it's one of the most versatile fragrances, in my opinion, that you could wear. I know you can get it. Some people argue that it's too strong, but I think it could be worn in the office and anywhere else.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Aventus, it's been around since 2010 and it took the fragrance world by storm when it was released. And I mean, look how many companies have tried to create their own Aventus, right? Like, it's insane. I don't even know the amount of clones or the amount of inspirations of Aventus there are. I mean, you've got Mont Blanc Explorer, you've got Nishane Hachivat, you've got Club de Nuit, you've got Afnan's got a few. You've got, just literally any company you can think of, probably. Well, now even Versace has Versace Eros Energy. So,
Yep.
you know, a lot of companies have copied the Aventus DNA, and for good reason. I mean, it is a fantastic profile, and to me, it kind of smells like money in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of
I
got
could
that
agree with that.
that
Yeah.
money smell. So in 2019, though, Creed decided to change up the Aventus DNA and release something a bit different, and they released Aventus Cologne, and this is basically a brighter, fresher, less smoky version of Aventus. It adds a mandarin orange note to the top. It takes away that pineapple feel. You get more of a citrus forward feel. I don't think there's any black currant in this either. And it's just a brighter, cleaner version of Aventus that I think maybe would work better in the in the warmer weather. It's not as heavy. It's not got that smoky, like woody dry down, but it still smells like Aventus. You can definitely smell this and still say, oh yeah, this has Aventus DNA to it. It's definitely Aventus. It's just done a bit differently. And personally, I really like this flanker. I think they did a great job with it. I have a newer F batch with the metal cap. Yours is an F batch, I think, too, but I think it's with the plastic cap.
Yep.
I don't have any performance issues out of this. I get 7 to 8 hours out of it. It's really loud when I first spray it on in the first couple of hours. This is loud for me. And yeah, that musky, citrusy goodness that is Aventus Cologne. So now let's move on and kind of do an overview of the newest Aventus flanker.
Yeah, so this one was kind of like the weird take, I guess, for Aventus or for Creed and what they did with the Aventus line because they kind of blended it almost with a fougere. So this was released in 2023. Um and it still has that black currant pineapple bergamot thing going on at the top, but I know they added grapefruit and they added more pepper at the top and then some nutmeg to kind of give it that like people compare it to like Sauvage Elixir, and it has you can it's I think it's really just because the nutmeg clove combo at the top. It just kind of gives that feel in the opening.
Yeah, it's definitely spicy.
Yeah, exactly. And then they took that inspiration from Aventus Cologne and kept ginger in it, and I think they added like citron and cinnamon in the middle, and then some rose. And then this one I could be completely wrong on, but I'm pretty sure they have tonka in the base and then some sandalwood
Yeah,
along with that.
as opposed to vanilla from the original.
Yep. And then I think they still have that Embroxin, and then if there's another note, I don't remember what it is. It's like Evernil.
Mm-hmm.
I think That's a pretty present one in the dry down, if I remember, because that emphasizes the like moss smell.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, this is an iconic lineup of fragrances, right? The Aventus DNA is iconic. It's to me in I mean it is the most sold men's niche fragrance ever. The only niche fragrance I can think of that has the impact that it's had was probably Baccarat Rouge 540. That's had the popularity and had the impact. I mean, you got dudes that don't know anything about fragrance and they walk into a store and they pay 500 retail for an Aventus bottle, right? And it's crazy to me. And let's touch on that before we get into voting which one our favorite Aventus is and if we think Aventus is worth owning. Let me ask you a question. Do you think in today's market, even with the discount prices, the retail prices, do you think Aventus is priced correctly, or do you think Creed's like reaching for these prices?
It's a good question. I personally would never pay retail price for a Creed. Um, I think they're reaching, but I think that they're targeting a market who will pay that price.
Yeah,
And I think that's the big thing is like they can price it at whatever they want. They're going to have people who will buy it. It's endorsed by musicians. It's endorsed by anybody. I mean, dude, there's so many songs where people are talking about smelling like Creed or smelling like Aventus and things like that. And people just want that. When you have idols and people that are big like that talking about things like this, people just automatically, they're like, I don't care what the price is. I'm going to buy it. I mean, look at that Saint Laurent jacket that blew up because of 21. And I think it started going for like 19 or 20K after he started talking about it.
absolutely. I mean, it's the same thing with like Jimmy Choo, like jeans, like any. I mean, just like I'm sorry, not Jimmy Choo, Robin jeans. And then also like Jimmy Choo's too. I mean, any of these fashion brands that are mentioned in pop culture by any artist or by any celebrity, it definitely has an impact. I mean, it just does, and that's very true. And you're right; they can choose to price however they want. And you know, do do you still see value in it at the discount price though, like around that 200, 250 range? Do you still see that being like too much for it, or you think that's kind of where it should be? Because it used to be that retail back, I think around like 2018, 2017. I think it was around that 250 range.
I think that 250 is fair for this fragrance because I think it's like if you're comparing it to things like YSL myself in our last video, I think this is way more complex and way more in depth than in a way high quality or way higher quality
Yeah.
than YSL myself. And I mean, personally, I think if it's going to be higher quality, it should be higher price. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be real with you, man. Like, I mean, we've tried quite a lot of interpretations or dupes of this, and just strictly to say the dupes. Now, I'm not gonna go off interpretations like Hachivat or whatever, like spin-offs, but because those companies do use higher quality ingredients in their fragrances. But some like a lot of these Middle Eastern dupes and dupes that we have tried, they just don't. You don't get a Ventus unless you buy a Ventus. That's what we've learned. Like you don't really get the true scent of a Ventus unless you just buy a sample of a Ventus or buy a whatever. So I always strongly suggest like, you know, somebody go and at least like if you're gonna buy some dupes of a Ventus, try to get a carded sample of the original just so you can experience the what it's really supposed to be like. Because when you A/B test it with a lot of these dupes, I just noticed that like first of all the opening they don't ever get that like citrusy bergamot pineapple correct. I also noticed that they don't like the dry down is way more like oak mossy and cheap smelling, or you know what I mean. It just there's just something about them that just never hit quite right, and that's not the snob in me, that's just the truth. Once you've kind of been around the DNA for a while and you kind of compare and contrast. Now Central Obsessions has some good versions,
He
and
does.
I know Parfums Vintage has some good versions. So there are some
Hmm.
indie dupe houses that are making some really good versions that are getting closer and really do give you that kind of pineapple-y feel, or they give you that kind of smoky birch feel, and it doesn't feel like such shit quality like it came off of a conveyor belt in a factory and was just mass produced, you know.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, man, Aventus is so iconic. So yeah,
Now, my
what
question for you before we
yeah.
move on, because it deals with this. So, like, outside of Dupes, looking at all these companies, because like we said, like after 2010, it blew up and everybody wants their piece of the Aventus pie. Is there anybody that you think that does the DNA better than Creed, or do you think Creed's still the best and the top dog at that DNA?
Um, you know, yes, there are companies that make it perform better, right? There's companies that make it beast mode and make it last longer. Um, I don't think there's anybody that really is doing it quite as good though, to be real with you. I mean, I like Mont Blanc Explorer. I really do genuinely like Mont Blanc Explorer. It's not Aventus, but it definitely gives you that Aventus feel. That's probably my favorite like dupe that you could walk into a store, get, or order off a line. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, Sensual Obsessions and Parfums Vintage are probably the two closest to it that I think actually have some competition, or that Creed some competition for it. But these Middle Eastern brands like Rayhan Imperial, Club de Nuit, all the versions of Club de Nuit, I've smelled multiple of those, and they're just not Aventus. And then Afnot, like all these companies. Now, have I tried every dupe? No, but because I've tried enough to where I got turned off of them, I don't really want to go seeking more Aventus dupes. And it's funny to me when people get like 10 versions of like 10 different versions of Aventus, but just didn't buy the real thing that they really wanted,
And
you know.
usually they claim to not like Aventus that much. It's an interesting concept, but out of all the big houses, what do you think? What do you think the big contender is with the DNA? Because for a while I thought it was Hachivat.
Yeah, I think Bond, Bond number 9 has Scent of Peace.
Okay,
That's in the realm of it. I think it's a very nice pineapple-y, citrusy version of Aventus without the smokiness. They also have bond9.com, which I never got a chance to try. I heard great things about that one though. I don't know if that's a discontinued hype or if that was the truth when it was out, that people actually wanted it and liked it. I've tried Thomas Kosmala's take on it, which is called Wild Stride. It's more in that Hachivat realm. It's more oak mossy. It's more dirty, just like Hachivat. I ended up trading my bottle of Hachivat. I liked it for a while, but it's very oak moss forward and very dirty. Um, Trying to think of any like major brands that kind of have their Aventus. Like I said, Mont Blanc does good, with their Explorer and the new Explorer. And then also Versace. I mean, Eros Energy is not my favorite, but it smells better than some of the Middle Eastern stuff that's out there that's kind of taken from the DNA. So I don't
I
know.
feel personally, I just feel nobody's doing it like Creed does it. Creed just hit it on the target, and
Yeah, I mean
while
they're
everybody
the
else is,
originator.
yeah, they're the originator, and I think they did it so well that I don't think there's much improvement that you can give it.
Yeah, and you can go over batch variations and this and that and blah blah blah, and that's the truth. And that happens when you're using naturals. And Creed uses a lot of naturals in their fragrances, and that happens when you start getting a different bergamot from a different plant than you did last year, or what, or
Mm-hmm.
bergamot tree, or whatever. I mean, sorry, but usually bergamots and citruses aren't natural, so I don't mean to use those as like the examples, but anything natural in the fragrance, it's not always the same year to year, like your crop or whatever you're
Yeah,
pulling from. So some people have said, oh, Cree's cheaping out. I don't know. I think there was an IFRA regulation thing that happened with Birch and some other things back in the day, to where like that made Creed have to switch the formula legally. And that's why a lot of the dark, heavy, smoky beast mode kind of went away, which sucks. But I don't think that was Creed's fault. Now their prices are astronomical now, but that's to be debated. Like we just talked about, somebody's going to pay it.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if you had to pick one though, like one Creed Aventus for the rest of your life, you couldn't have the other two. Which one would you keep?
So I went through and I smelled these multiple times just to confirm my answer, and I wanted to make sure that I made the right decision. But I think me personally, I'm gonna go with Absolute Aventus, which is crazy because the original that has been my favorite fragrance for the last 3 years. I think it's still my favorite due to nostalgia and things like that, but just purely based on scent profile, I think this one has the best scent profile in my opinion because it blends the other two. So it has that oak moss from the original. It has the pineapple from the original and the black currant. And then it has the ginger from Aventus cologne. Instead of mandarin, it has grapefruit. And then it still has that nice ambroxan from the original and the oak moss and the tonka and all that other stuff that makes Aventus Aventus, no matter what flanker. But it does all that and adds the barbershop feel to it. So I just think it makes it a little more complex, a little bit more upper echelon, if you will.
Got you. Yeah, and I think that's a good pick, and I think you know it's very valid. I think it's a lot of people's favorite creed, honestly, in general. I've seen a lot of positivity when this was released, even though the price was astronomical. You know, it does last a good amount of time. It smells fantastic. The layering in it, the perfumery in it is great, and it is, in my opinion, one of the most complex creeds. I mean, if you smell it on a complexity level, like layer to layer, it's very, very complex. So I see where you're coming from with that. I think for me personally, if I had to keep one for the rest of my life, I love the original. I love Absolute, but I'm going to have to go with Aventus Cologne. This was the first version that I bought the full bottle of, and it just works for me, man. I feel like it fits me. It fits my personality a little bit better. I think the original is great, but sometimes it can come across a little too smoky for me, depending on what I'm wearing or what I've got going on. And then Absolute is a little bit spicier, a little bit more mature, and you know, this one just kind of fits my vibe. That's really the best way I can describe it. It's clean, it's fresh, and yes, you do still smell like Creed Aventus, but just a little bit of a twist on it. And I don't have any longevity issues out of this. I really don't. This is an F batch with a metal cap, and 7-8 hours it can go strong, and that's okay with me. So, you know, and that's another thing maybe we can get into in another time. We can talk about is the whining about Aventus and Aventus Cologne and Aventus Absolute and Creed in general. Is it valid, the longevity thing? Or, you know, we can maybe get into that on another video.
Long answer short, no.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it you're dealing with ambroxan, you're dealing with ambergris, and I think a lot of it has to do with people just going straight nose blind to it. Also, most of the people bitching on the internet are spraying it right here under their neck. And they're
Or they're
using
spraying
like,
it on their hand and immediately going,
yeah, absolutely. And they're just like two sprays, like, like, no, it's not. Of course, it's not gonna last, bro. Like, what you mean? Like, it's not. I don't think it's meant to be a monster of a
no.
fragrance. Like, I don't, and it may have been at one point, but you got to let that go. At some point, somebody's got to let that go. You know, and some people aren't going to, and I'm like, that's fine. Go out there and buy your $1,000, $1,500 bottle of 13 whatever or 16 whatever, whatever year you want to pay for,
Yeah.
but you're just not going to get that. And like I said, and like we said, I think Central Obsessions does a good job of kind of adding some Aventus variations that kind of can give you that older Aventus feel, and then also Parfum's vintage too. But yeah, I don't think it's valid, to be real with you. Like, I don't have any longevity issues. I mean, this bottle's an F batch. I get about 7 hours out of it, maybe a little bit more if I sprayed in clothes. About the same with this. Absolute Aventus is more. This is stronger. This gives me
Oh, I
more.
get all day out of
This gives me
Absolute.
more performance. This is definitely. I wouldn't even hear anybody out at any point if they said something about this. I don't even like I. Yeah.
Now we have to take into consideration that we have day one bottles, brother. So like
Oh, this
our
batch.
yeah, we could have a little bit different of experience of people than they do getting these new bottles. I don't know. I've never smelled a new one.
Yeah, that was the first limited edition run. Remember, it was supposed to be limited edition. Now,
It
now I'll get on Creed's ass about that one.
little money grab.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they realized how much money they could make off of it and ran with it.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of was fishy to me when they didn't have anything stating limited edition on the bottle in the first place. So I kind
Yeah,
of figured that they were already leaving that door open to be able to sell it all throughout the year and then
yeah,
so on.
yeah. And I don't like. We were just talking about this before we got on, but I don't like the new, not this version, but the new bottle with the wrap around it and everything. 100 milliliter bottle.
It looks corny, man.
It does. It looks way better like this. It looks less luxury, in my opinion. It looks less badass. It looks more like goofy. Yeah, like you said, corny. So
Yeah,
yeah,
there's just
Creed.
something about the black on black bottle. I mean, just the etching, and that's it. You just get the etching. That's the only thing that's not black. It's nice.
Yeah, the 75 mil is definitely the most aesthetically pleasing. Yeah. So, and I understand them, wanting to offer the 100 milliliter, sure, but damn, could y'all not have just made a bigger version of this? I don't know, but yeah, man. Well, cool. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like, leave a comment. Let us know if you're an Aventus fan, if you're a dupe rocker, if you think Aventus is worth it. Let us know what your favorite version is. And then also, if you're not a part of our private black box fragrance community, you definitely need to go over there and check it out. We'll leave a link here in the description. A bunch of people are really enjoying it. We're having discussions about fragrances. People are asking questions. You've got people posting their scents of the day. There's free masterclasses. We've got one coming up at the end of September. So be sure to tune in and check out the extra content that we've got for you. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. Stay fresh, stay cool.
Peace.